Following this, Zenon looked down on Shadow and he told him that he is a core member of the cult. He was confident of winning against Shadow and said that he will eliminate Shadow and show him true power. However, Shadow was attacked by Zenon and he caused an explosion. Shadow dodged his attack with ease and he asked him about the core members of the cult. Then we see Knights of the Kingdom Midgar and they tried to stop a monster who attacked the capital. But their attacks had no effect and they didn't know how they can defeat the strong enemy. Then we see Iris, and she was on her way to fight the monster. Iris jumped on the monster, and she managed to cut off one of the monster's arms. Suddenly, the monster's body regenerated, and they were shocked that Iris's attack didn't work. So Iris began to prepare a stronger attack, and she cut off another arm. The monster was thrown against a wall, but she survived her powerful attacks. Iris then increased her power, and attacked the monster with a finishing move. Iris planned to eliminate the monster, but Alpha appeared out of nowhere. She said that her attacks tormented the creature and she decided to put the monster out of her misery. Alpha ended the monster's life with a powerful magic attack that caused a huge explosion. Meanwhile, Iris was shocked by Alpha's explosive power. Suddenly, the monster turned back into a girl, and Alpha found a necklace with her family's picture on it. Alpha told Iris that they were Shadow Garden and warned Iris not to get in the way of their organization. Then Alpha disappeared and Iris desperately searched for her little sister. Following this, we see Shadow fighting against his opponent. His enemy tried to defeat Shadow with a large amount of magical energy. Shadow blocked all of his attacks and he ate up his sword blows like 3 Happy Meals ordered from McDonald's. Then he showed Zenon that he was no match for him, and his opponent became angry. They exchanged countless sword blows, and Princess Alexia was amazed by his beautiful fencing style. In the short moment, she realized that their fencing style are similar, and she was amazed by him. Alexia remembered that she enjoys her fencing style the most, but she couldn't defeat her big sister with her fencing style. She remembered planning to give up, but Shadow showed her the enormous potential of her fencing style. Suddenly, Zenon was hurt, and he wanted to know why such a strong person was hiding his true identity. He replied that he belongs to the Shadow Garden, which hunts criminals from the shadows. Meanwhile, Alexia was confused and Zenon planned to take steroids that would multiply his strength. He swallowed the pills and he turned into a demon that could win a bodybuilding competition. He then said that he is one of the few who can control this power and he will destroy him with just one hit. Zenon attacked Shadow, but his attack was not strong enough to destroy Shadow. After that, Alexia sensed Zenon's enormous power, but Shadow withstood his weak attack. He was not impressed by his opponent and began to launch a counterattack. So Zenon was beaten and he realized that he had no chance against Shadow. Suddenly he activated a spell similar to a nuclear bomb and he created a cage with his magic power. Zenon was confused and could not believe that a person who possessed infinite magical power existed. Before Shadow ended the fight, he told him a story about a man trying to survive the impact of a nuclear bomb. He said that he managed to become the power of a nuclear bomb himself, and Zenon tried to defeat him with his last strength. Unfortunately, his attack failed and Shadow prepared his atomic spell. At that moment, the whole city began to shake, and he caused a huge explosion. Shadow caused a disaster, and his nuclear bomb spell destroyed everything in his area. Meanwhile, Shadow Garden was watching his show, and Iris was worried about Alexia. In the end, a huge hole remained, and Alexia was unharmed in the destroyed tunnel. At that moment, she held her sword, and she started doing sword exercises. She began to like her fencing style, which was elegant and beautiful. Suddenly, Iris appeared, and she was happy that her little sister was unharmed. Alexia hugged her big sister, and she made up with her big sister. In the days that followed, Alexia met Sheed one last time, and she began to have a crush on him. She thanked him for praising her fencing style. Before Sheed left, Alexia asked if he would like to continue the relationship. He refused, and he was punished by her. Later, all of his girls admired their master, and they were already planning to find other members of the cult. Suddenly, Alpha said that a shadow had discovered more facilities. Additionally, she mentioned that criminals tried to ruin the reputation of their organization. They suspected that the cult of Diablos planned something, and they prepared countermeasures. Meanwhile, Iris was worried because there were members of the Diablos cult in the Night Order. She also viewed Shadow Garden as a threat, and planned to take countermeasures. Glenn and Marco were tasked with investigating the case and finding leads to the two organizations. Later, we see a girl reading a book. She bumped into Sheed and fell to the ground. Sheed was covered in blood and he helped her get up. In that moment, she got a crush on him, because Sheed got background character Riz. During the night, a man was chased by a mysterious person who claims to belong to the organization Shadow Garden. He killed the innocent man and repeated the words that he belongs to Shadow Garden. The next day, Sheed said he broke up with Alexia and his friends asked him if they had smooched. He replied that nothing happened and his friends planned to go to the city to buy chocolate. Later, Cherry and her father were shown an artifact that was in the possession of the cult of Diablos. Iris entrusted her with researching the artifact because she was the smartest person in the kingdom. Luther encouraged her and said that she would definitely be able to find out more about the artifact, so she agreed to take on the task and Iris assigned the Crimson Order to protect her. Alexia wanted to help her big sister with the examinations, and she was counting on her little sister. In the afternoon, Sheed and his friends were in front of the department store. Sheed noted that the fancy architecture reminds him of his old life. Suddenly, a woman invited him to take a survey. The woman said she only needed one person, and she led Sheed into the department store. At the store, Sheed realized that the products were similar to those of his old life. He was then led to the roof of the building. He discovered a huge house built on the roof. Suddenly, he entered the room, and he was greeted by Gamma. He was surprised to see Gamma, and he learned that Gamma was the store owner. Sheed remembered that he once told her about his old life. He also knew that Gamma was the smartest of the 7 shadows, but she had one major flaw because she was very clumsy. Afterwards, he sat on his custom-made throne and liked the feeling of being a king. He was grateful for Gamma's gift, and he rewarded his followers. At that moment, Gamma remembered the day Shadow had saved her life. Afterwards, he learned about the income the store had made. Sheed was shocked by the huge amount of money and sweated because of his nervousness. Then Gamma reported the incident to him that the Night Order thinks that Shadow Garden is murdering innocent people. Sheed had a plan to catch the imposter. Before he left the building, he was introduced to Nu, who was promoted to a number. Suddenly, Sheed remembered that he planned to buy chocolate in her store, and he secretly stole a gold coin with his shadow abilities. Later, he ran back to the dorm with his friends. He remembered Alexia trying to kill him without hesitation, but he suspected that he was on the wrong track. Suddenly, he heard the sounds of blades crossing each other. He pretended to have to go to the toilet, so he asked his friends to leave him behind so that they wouldn't get in trouble from the teachers. Then Sheed said he felt pressure in his butt because he could no longer hold the chocolate in his pants. As a result, he got rid of his friends, and he was able to search for the enemy who was posing as a member of Shadow Garden. Shadow was surprised to find Alexia, who was fighting against the enemy. Alexia managed to defeat the guy, who murdered innocent peoples. Suddenly assassins appeared and Alexia tried to defeat them. She fought back, but more assassins appeared and they pretended to be Shadow Garden. Unfortunately, she was hit and suffered a serious injury. At the last moment, Shadow appeared, and he planned to punish the weaklings who pretended to be Shadow Garden. The assassins tried to escape, and Shadow planned to hunt them all down. Before he left, Alexia asked him a few questions, but he went off to hunt the assassins. However, he eliminated an enemy, and Nu showed up. She joined the hunt, and Shadow entrusted her to kill the last one. Suddenly, the assassin tried to attack her, but she slashed him down. Then she said that he will be her toy. In the meantime, the core members of the cult of Diablos planned their next step. Then we see Alexia, who reported to her big sister that the killers were not Shadow Garden. She understood that Shadow Garden was hunting the cult of Diablos, but she viewed both as threats to the kingdom. In the mornings that followed, other students made fun of Sheed because some students saw him saying he had to go to the bathroom. His friends tried to cheer him up, and they asked if he still had chocolate. A short time later, Hiyoro confessed his love to a girl, but the girl was disgusted by his face. Suddenly a transgender appeared, and he ordered Hiyoro to pick up the soap. In the afternoon, Po tried his luck, and he thought he got infinite riz. Meanwhile, Sheed didn't feel like giving a girl chocolate, but he gave Cherry his gift. Sheed got nuclear bomb riz, and he surprised Cherry with his gift. In the evening, she wondered why she had been given chocolate as a gift. Her father said that it is a gift to confess his love. Suddenly, Cherry blushed, and she was surprised because she had no experience with love. His father's illness then became apparent, and Cherry was worried about him. He replied that he was fine, and she was happy to have such a nice father.